Hey everybody, welcome back. We are here to chip away at that Kindle sample pile that never really seems to get smaller. I feel like that's a mathematical impossibility, but I don't know why. Our book today, Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This looks like a lot of fun. I will, as always, judge books by covers. It is a very nice kind of watercolor cover. I like the colors of it. It's really lovely. We have an octopus with what looks like a sudsy bucket and maybe a Swiffer of some kind. Very friendly. It's really pretty. And, it makes you just want to look at the octopus. It's quite lovely. And, I've heard that octopi, we're kind of divided on that. You know what? I'm going to say octopi because I know that will probably get people arguing in the comments. And engagement, as they say, is everything. Ha-ha! That's my trick. But I've heard that they are actually remarkably bright creatures. There's stories of octopi kind of getting out of their enclosures, of figuring out puzzles and cool stuff like that. So, I don't know what this is about. I don't know how they're going to be remarkably bright, but I'm looking forward to finding out. So, let me read the sample, and I will see you in a second. All right? Stay there. Alrighty, well, this was fun. The book starts us off with the point of view of the octopus. Now, interesting thing, there are two narrators in this book. The first one is the octopus. The octopus's name is Marcellus. I'm assuming given to him and not named by himself. And he says right out the gate that he is, as an octopus, he is an old octopus. He's there, he says, day 1,299 of my captivity. And makes a note that the average lifespan of his kind of creature is about 1,460 days. So he's got about 160 days left in his life. And he is confined to this tank in this aquarium. He doesn't seem terribly happy about that. The other narrator is Tova Sullivan, who is a janitor at the aquarium. She's about 70 years old. She had a son named Eric, but she is alone. Her husband is dead. Her son has died. She lives alone now. She cleans up at the aquarium. And she has some friends that they're like a little knitting circle. They call themselves the Nitwits with a K at the beginning. But of course, even they are diminishing because, again, they're older and they're not going to last forever. And I believe right from the outset of the sample, that's going to be a big part of this book, right? Is about aging because Marcellus is old for an octopus and Tova is old for a human being. It's going to be about loss, I suspect. Tova has lost a great many people. I'm not sure what Marcellus has lost, other than, his freedom and liberty and ability to go around the ocean. Last night we watched Shape of Water. I hadn't seen it until last night. It was a lovely story. And now that I think about it, this is giving me Shape of Water feelings, right? We've got a janitor. We have a intelligent ocean creature. All right. I hope there's some distinct differences between this book and Shape of Water. Shape of Water was great, but nevertheless. But having Marcellus as one of the narrators actually makes me think of the title in a slightly different way. When it says Remarkably Bright Creatures and it puts an octopus in the front, what that's leading us to think is that the octopus is the remarkably bright creature. But what if it's not? What if, from Marcellus's point of view, the humans are actually remarkably bright creatures as well? So I suspect there is going to be kind of this cross-species evaluation of people and understanding that maybe intelligence is not something confined to one species, even though there may be different types of intelligences. Who knows? And then at a certain point, we learn a little bit about Tova and her life. We learn about Marcellus. It's interesting when Marcellus talks, he talks as though he's telling his story to somebody. In fact, he said at one point, he says, "You asked, I answered." So it makes me wonder who Marcellus is talking to as the narrator. So I haven't figured that out yet. But again, it's kind of a short sample. Unfortunately, I wish there were more. I understand why it's short. They've got enough in there to make me want to read the book, and I do, but I really wish there was more. So it looks like a fun read. It also looks real sad in a lot of ways because Tova and Marcellus are reaching the end of their natural lifespans. And so what I expect the book is going to be about is probably about loss and grief and facing the end, like facing the end of a life and trying to face it with some sense of dignity and freedom. I greatly suspect at some point Tova is probably going to rescue Marcellus from his cage and hopefully free him back out into the water where he can live out his remaining 100 or so days where, he should. I don't know what's going to happen to Tova, how Marcellus is going to help her, because he has less sort of agency in the world than she does. Because he's not in his world. She's in hers. She has a way of manipulating things. He does not. So I don't know what Marcellus is going to give to her. But I look forward to finding that out. Because, of course, I want to read the rest of the book. It sounds real nice. But I'm expecting that, it's going to end kind of in heartbreak. And if I was the type of person to cry at books, it feels like this is the kind of book that I might cry at. I'm not a book crier, by the way. Sorry if I've led you astray to thinking that I was. But yeah, will I read this book? Yeah, I think I will. Looks good. Looks really interesting. I love the idea of other intelligent beings in the world. Octopuses, crows, raccoons, maybe. There are other ways to be intelligent other than ours. And I think it's useful for us to remember that sometimes. So if you've read this book and you have thoughts on it, let me know. Does it have a happy ending? I'm not a big worrier about spoilers. I generally don't care. So if you want to tell me that it has a happier ending than I seem to think that it does, feel free to tell me that. That'll be great. But in the meantime, thank you very much for stopping by. As always, I really appreciate sharing these samples with you. And I guess I'll see you next time. All right. Stay well.